Protagoras has just bragged that, unlike Homer and Hesiod, he doesn't hide behind poetry. He openly calls himself a sophist, a paid teacher of wisdom. Then Socrates asks the hardest question of his career: can virtue be taught? And what does the great truth teller do? He tells a fairy tale. Two, in fact. The mask slips on the very first move. Here's the pivot point in Plato's dialogue. Socrates challenges Protagoras to defend his claim that virtue can be taught. Protagoras offers a choice: logos, dialectical argument, the patient back and forth of reasons, or mythos, storytelling, the path of the poets. The crowd loves a good story. Protagoras happily takes that path. Notice what just happened. The man who claimed to surpass the poets has chosen the poet's weapon. The form of his answer already tells us something the content will try to hide. Myth 1. Long ago, the gods made the mortal creatures and gave two brothers the job of equipping them. Epimetheus, whose name means afterthought, handed out claws, fur, speed, sharp teeth. He worked his way down the list and ran out of gifts before reaching humans, so humans stood naked, soft, defenseless. Prometheus, the forethinker, stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity, along with the technical crafts. This first myth grounds human nature. The Greek word is physis, what we are by birth, by biology, prior to any human decision. Fire and skill are our compensation for being naked apes. Myth 2. Fire and craft are not enough. Humans build cities, then tear them apart. They lack the political art. Watching from above, Zeus fears extinction and sends Hermes down with two gifts to plant in every human heart: idols and dike, shame and justice. Unlike fire, which only specialists possess, these are distributed to everyone. This second myth grounds political life. The Greek word is nomos, law, custom, convention, whatever humans agree on. Hold on to the question we'll need in a minute. Why two myths? Why not one? Here's why the structure matters. By telling two separate myths, Protagoras quietly installs a famous sophistic distinction: physis versus nomos, nature versus convention. Physis is what's true everywhere and can't be voted away. Gravity, fire burns, we die. Nomos is what humans agree on and varies city to city. Parking regulations, currency, which side of the road you drive on. The split itself sounds harmless, but sophists use it as a wedge. And once you see how the wedge works, the second myth stops looking innocent. Watch what sophists do with the line. They start sliding things across it. Murder laws, convention. Theft, convention. The prohibition on rape, convention. Anything moral gets shoved into the nomos column. Mere agreement, not binding truth. Once morality is convention, it's negotiable. By giving justice its own myth, separate from nature, Protagoras appears to dignify it with divine origin. But the separation does the real work. Justice lives on the convention side of the line, dressed in religious clothing. The myth is a velvet glove. The physis nomos divide is the iron fist inside it. This is what relativism actually looks like in practice. Protagoras famously said, "Man is the measure of all things. He's a traveling teacher." In democratic Athens, he tells a myth where Zeus gave justice to every citizen, a perfect charter for democracy. Carry the same man to oligarchic Sparta and he can retool the story. Justice belongs to the worthy few. In a Persian monarchy, justice flows downward from the king. Same speaker, 3 regimes, 3 myths. The myth maker bends his reasoning to local taste. This portability is why Socrates won't play. Socrates refuses to legitimize regimes on demand. That refusal is what makes him the troublemaker and eventually the condemned man. Socrates has seen enough. He drops the stories and asks one quiet, devastating question. Are the virtues one thing or many? Courage, justice, wisdom, piety, temperance. We use 5 different names. Do they pick out 5 genuinely different qualities? Or are they five faces of one underlying reality? This question looks innocent. It is not. It's a trap built precisely for Protagoras. The Sophists' whole intellectual style favors plurality, ambiguity, local variation, difference. Unity threatens him. Socrates pulls toward the one. Protagoras pulls toward the many. The man who just told two myths to keep nature and justice apart is now being asked, but underneath, isn't it all one? Here's where the dialogue is heading and why the question matters. Socrates will argue that every virtue opposes folly, courage opposes folly, justice opposes folly, wisdom, piety, temperance, each opposes folly. Now apply a small logical principle. A single thing can have only one true opposite. If all five virtues share the same opposite, they must converge on a common foundation. And what is that foundation? Knowledge. Folly is ignorance. Virtue, in every form, turns out to be a kind of knowing. If Socrates is right, virtue isn't a patchwork of local customs that a clever speaker can re-narrate to fit each city. It's a unified rational structure. You can't bend it to local taste because 2 plus 2 doesn't bend either. Step back and see what just happened. Protagoras was offered a fork, argument or story. He chose story. He told two of them, and the doubling was the point. It installed the Physis nomos divide that lets sophists treat morality as negotiable convention. From that divide flows the traveling teacher who can legitimize any regime, because every regime is just one local agreement among others. Socrates, with a single question, drags him off that terrain, one or many. That question becomes the engine of Western ethics for the next 2,000 years. Is morality a unified rational structure, something you discover like a proof, or a patchwork of conventions, something you negotiate like a contract? Plato will say discovered. The sophists will say negotiated. Modern ethics is still arguing. So when you read the Protagoras, listen for the moment the storyteller picks up his lyre. The myth isn't decoration, it's the evasion. And Socrates, refusing to be charmed, asks the question that won't let the storyteller hide. Underneath all your stories, is there one truth or only many tales?